Today I've got some huge stories for you, but this is going to be a bit more of a talking head because today is the last day of Prime Day, and there are actually some really awesome deals that will help to offset some of the crazy memory and storage prices for those looking to build a PC right now. So I wanted to get this video out as quickly as I could. Either way, let's go over those and then get into the stories. First up, there are some insanely good motherboard deals right now. Like I touched on in my last video, I'm talking up to 56% off on this ASRock Z890 Tai Chi. Just an insanely good deal right now. Not only that, but if you're looking more AMD, this B650 board is a whopping 31% off. Oh, and I'll have affiliate links to these down in the description below. They don't cost you anything more, and it helps the channel out. Next up, we have a couple AMD CPUs, and really quickly, I actually looked at the pricing history of these because a lot of times I see what people will do, it'll look like it's a great deal, but actually it's been that same price for quite a while. So these ones are actual deals. Now I will say that the actual percentage off that it shows could be higher than what it really is. It's typically just comparing it to the actual MSRP, but at least starting things off, a very good deal on the 9700X, it's $259.23. Now, if you don't want to spend that much money on a new CPU, the 7700X is currently $199.99. If you want to go Intel's Core Ultra 7 270K, that one is 26% off, bringing it down to $264.99. Moving on, we have an MSI Mag. This is, of course, a fully modular PSU, 750 watts, 31% off, down to $75.99. Now, like I said, all of these will be linked down in the description below. It really helps the channel out, and there are a ton more deals, so look at those before they're gone. Next up, it looks like AI is in fact costing game developers money instead of helping them save it. In my last video, I covered a story that analyzed thousands of Steam games, and they found that when the developers disclosed that they had used AI to make the game, they received a whopping 53% fewer reviews, and using reviews as a proxy for sales, that obviously isn't good. Ultimately, the evidence pointed to players actively avoiding games that use AI. Well, it looks like the CEO of Epic Games, Tim Sweeney, just proved me right. Because in a recent interview with PC Gamer, he makes it very clear that he's not happy about Steam forcing developers to disclose AI use. In the interview, he says that it's, quote, really irresponsible of Valve, referring to having this requirement. Now, I want to stop here and say that I'm not anti-AI or anything. I use AI to help with some of my thumbnails. I'm honestly just terrible at thumbnails and it makes them look better. I also sometimes use it to help me with research, though you always have to double check it. But my point is that it can be used as a tool to help with things. The problem, I think, is when it's used to do everything, because then you get every game that's essentially the same. And I don't mean the same genre when a big new game like Fortnite comes out and then everyone wants to make a battle royale game, but it all starts looking, playing, and feeling like the exact same game. Then you have people who really shouldn't be making games that don't have any of the talent to do it, but are able to thanks to AI. And in a way that can be a good thing because it lowers the bar, but this also a lot of times lowers the standard. And those types of issues, I think, are what people are really getting sick of. Plus, it has to train on actual artists before it can do anything. Not to mention the fear that it eventually takes over the world, but that's another story entirely. Regardless, as you can see, he sort of tries to address this. He says that, quote, you're not going to create good art by giving a computer a prompt and having it spit out a mesh. You're going to get good art by an awesome artist using all of the tools available to make it. And here, I think the problem is that this isn't how it's ever going to be used. We've literally seen major companies like McDonald's make a 100% AI generated ad. I mean, look at how game developers use upscaling today. Instead of making well-optimized games and just allowing us to get more performance with upscaling, many are using upscaling as a crutch to get them out of optimizing altogether. I think the fear is that AI will bring worse games instead of giving developers more time to improve in other areas. At the end of the day, if customers don't want to support games made with AI, that's completely up to them. And the fact that Mr. Sweeney is upset about this tells us that it's working, and game developers should think twice before using AI. As many of you know, FSR 4.1 was recently released for RX 7000 GPUs. After months of pushing the company, AMD finally gave in, and we now have our first real review of it comparing RX 7000 with FSR 4.1 and FSR 3.1 to see what we lose and what we gain. Of course, what we gain is more or less already known, given we know how much better AMD's ML-based upscaling really is. I mean, honestly, FSR 3 looked okay, but FSR 4 is just better in every way. What we didn't know, at least until now, was the performance loss that we can expect when using RX 7000 in FSR 4.1 versus 3.1. Remember that the reason AMD initially released FSR 4 exclusively on the RX 9000 series was because older cards don't have FP8, but they do have INT 8, which is how AMD could do this at all, but it's simply not as efficient for running AMD's newer AI model. That means the GPU has to do more work, and as a result, you lose a bit of performance. So the question becomes, how much? Well, according to the first independent testing from Computerbase, the answer is up to 14%. Specifically, in performance mode, when comparing FSR 3.1 performance to 4.1, the RX 7900 XTX saw the biggest drop at 14.5%, with quality mode dropping by 10.8%. This was across 9 different games. There was also a drop in the 7800 XT at 1440p and 7600 at 1080p, but it wasn't by as much. That said, the trade-off is pretty straightforward. You give up a little performance, but in return, you get noticeably better image quality, improved stability, and far less shimmering. Ultimately, the good news is that AMD is now offering a choice for RDNA 3 owners, which is something they simply weren't planning to do. And that of course means if you'd rather have more performance, you can get it with FSR 3, but if you want better fidelity and don't mind a small drop in performance, FSR 4 is the clear winner. And honestly, it's just nice to see AMD listen to the community. At launch, FSR 4 was positioned as an RX 9000 exclusive feature, but after enough feedback, the company went back, optimized it for older hardware, and gave existing customers the option anyway. Sure, it's not quite as fast as running it on RDNA 4, but I'd much rather have the choice than be told I need to buy a brand new GPU just to access AMD's latest upscaling technology.